Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Robin Carter with Robin's Creations. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Flower Mound, Texas. And today, which is August 21st, I'm going to be sharing my second set of alternative cards with you using the August 2025 paper pumpkin kit named Farmhouse Florals. Before we begin, let me thank each and every one of my subscribers out there. You guys are the greatest and help me reach a goal of 5,000 subscribers. We're well on our way to 5,100. So if you are new to my channel, I hope you find this video helpful and you will consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. As you watch, if you see something you like, give me a thumbs up so I know you like the ideas that I have to share. Now, I have some Stampin' Up! News to share. Some have mixed feelings about this, but starting in November, and especially with the new mini catalog, they are no longer going to carry cling stamps. So the material to make the cling stamps has been getting hard for them to obtain. So they've decided just to make all the stamps photopolymer. Now the good news about that is I do love how you can see through them, especially with sentiments and things like that. So that you won't have that problem with the rubber of not being able to see where you're stamping, especially as sentiments go. And as part of that, they reviewed their Stampin' Up! Markers, and the sale of those have been way down. So they have decided to discontinue markers, and they are in the last chance section already. Now, I love my markers. So I like to fill in with them and occasionally do little coloring with them if it's a small object. So if those have been on your list and you've been on the fence about whether to get them or not, you better grab them up now because they're while supplies last. So I'm a little sad about that, but we do have the blends to color with, and hopefully they're going to make them in every color if they haven't already. Okay, so let's switch to hands down so I can share what I'm going to share today. We get the right screen going. Okay, so like I said, this is the paper pumpkin kit, all right, that we're going to work with today. And today I'm going to work with the window base over here. I'm having difficulty with the typewriter, but I do hope to have something to make it a little more interesting in my third video. Anyway, going on right now through September 10th is the subscription period for the September Fall for Toile paper pumpkin kit. Now this is going to coordinate with the Autumn Toile Suite collection. I did decide to go ahead and pre-order that whole suite. It's not here yet, but I do have one item I'm going to sneak peek of you out of the new catalog. Also, don't forget that these dies are fabulous and a great value at $12 US. I did look right before this video. They are still available. Item number 167277. It's a set of 12 dies. And I know in September, this is going to make like an acorn. And then we have this little leaf. And of course, I've used, I think, all of these in some alternative this quarter. And I hope to use them, in years to come because they are so versatile. All right, so I have started working today on my sleeves for my paper pumpkin subscribers, and I'll be getting these in the mail. I want to give a special shout out to my subscribers and say thank you for being patient with me. I have had a crazy July and I'm trying to get all caught up. So I appreciate your patience with that. So just wanted to mention that. Let's put this away. Now this is part of what I call my favorite things. As you can see, it stores the paper pumpkin kits nicely as well as the envelopes. And my goal is to always have an empty envelope. If not before the next paper pumpkin kit, then pretty soon after, so that I use all the materials in the kit. And then I just got this in today with a small pre-order I did. So this is the new mini that's going to be live for customers starting in September. This is what I like to call the holiday catalog. They just now call it the mini catalog. And I have one thing I want to share with you that I just got. I always look for a new Christmas type of stamp, and this was one in the new catalog. It's called A Child is Born, and I really like all the animals. Now, some people have pointed out, why don't they have faces? Well, I liken this to the willow tree little figurines. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but they're little figurines that don't have faces, and they're quite popular for collectors. So I don't know, maybe we can draw in some eyes or something if we want to. But anyway, this is A Child is Born kit. I'll read the sentiments in case this is small. It says, "For unto us a child is born. Oh, come, let us adore him. When we saw the star, when they saw the star, they rejoiced. And oh, holy night! And all is calm, all is bright." So I really like that. And I think I'm hoping that the Shepherd's Care stamp set followed over. I should have looked to see if that's just not, if that's still available. And I think that would go nicely with this set to coordinate with the shepherd and the manger scene. So that is coming in this catalog, item number 165833. Oh, and I forgot to mention, with the revamping of all stamps going to cling, they are going to change the way these come. So much like our dies, now I'm going to be using this die to show you an alternative. All these little cases that they come in, the stamps are going to come in these. Now, the good news is it'll take up a lot less room in your craft room. The sad news is we won't have the little side images here when I'm looking through my bookcase. But I use my Evernote and I have them in alphabetical order, which helps me find what I'm looking for. Also, the dies, instead of all this verbiage, they're going to have an image of each and every one of those, as well as the stamps here on the front. So looking forward to that. It'll take up a lot less room in my craft room. Okay, I forgot to mention that. So let's get down to business and start with my alternative. Now, this kit, which I'm kind of glad, I needed a simple kit to get all caught up. And like I said, I have a simple alternative for you today. So what you're going to need is, as I always do, a thick white card base. Now, if you don't want to use a thick white card base, you can definitely use the plain card base that came in our kit this month. And they are speckled on purpose. It's much like our previous confetti or deckled cardstock we used to have years ago. So that is supposed to be that way. Don't think you got defective cards. Okay. I'm going to do white, and then I'm going to bring in a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock. Now, this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I have pre-embossed this with the exposed brick 3D embossing folder. I think I looked, and this is current. I'm losing what's current and what's not as new stuff is coming in and older stuff is going out. Anyway, this is still available at 161600 is the item number. And take note when you emboss it, when you go to put it on your card base. If you want the brick sticking up and the mortar in, you want to use this side. If you want the bricks in and the mortar out. I did rent a apartment years and years ago where it was this way, where the mortar kind of stuck out and the brick was in. So I do know they do both of those as far as bricklaying goes. So I'm going to put that on the side I want. I like the brick sticking up and the mortar down. Okay, and then we have this beautiful window scene. Now I really liked it. Here it is. I thought I lost it already. So it is a beautiful design, so as is, and you could just put that on there with a sentiment, but I'm going to do a little something just to use some of the stamps and add a little pizzazz to it. So before we start, I'm going to feel my card base, and this one side seems just a hair bigger, and I always put those on top because it's easier to open up a card that way. So let's adhere this. See, that one's not very full. Let's adhere this, and this is cherry cobbler, if I didn't mention that. I thought it really brought out this window scene. All right, yes, and if you hear my air and see my fans going, it is hot, hot, hot this week and last week in Texas, which is kind of normal, but anyway, I can't turn it off because it would just get too hot and take too long to cool back down. Okay, so there is our cherry cobbler on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this on using dimensionals. And let me just get one of my pick things. Now, some of my local people, I never forget, they said this, take your pick tool. Now, this is not it. Let me see. I have it over here. I actually have two. The take your pick tool was their best purchase ever because especially with the glue dots and these dimensionals like this, it's so much easier to get them up. They said that was the best $10 I ever spent. So hopefully you enjoy yours as well. People have asked me where I got this one, and I've just had it years and years. It came in a little kit from Sizzix, and I like how heavy it is. I do like to take your pick tool as well. All right, let's take off these backings. Now, we got mini dimensionals in the kit. If you're new to my channel, when I use full size dimensionals, I usually cut them in half. Okay, so I'm just going to center this, do the best I can without getting my head in. And like I said, that plus a sentiment would be good, but I wanted to bring in some of the beautiful stamps that we had, and I have them on my Stamparatus. There, I lost one part of my chamois and I just found it. Yay! All right, let's set this aside. Okay, and then I'm gonna, now I have some stamps that I've used on this sheet and this sheet. By the way, I did get my video out of how to use Cricut Design Space and Canvas Workspace with like SVG files, much like I have on my Etsy shop. So if you've missed that video, go check it out. It's the one right before this one. It got released, and there's some great tips in there of using Cricut Design Space and how to make full-size page items, etc. So if you have a Cricut, you may want to check that out. All right, so now we're going to use the little, we're going to make the little tea kettle thing, and I'm looking for my ink, and then I have already pre-cut a whole bunch of these. Now, I love to like cut that part out as well. That way it's not a solid white piece. I like to do that with anything that has like a handle. So let's put this with Memento ink. And it is. Okay, make sure it's on there. The thing I often forget, and let's hope I didn't forget this time, is to push this thing in the corner. So there we have our tea kettle, and I did that with Memento because I'm going to color it with Stampin' Blends. Hope I'm not shaking my table too much. Okay, and then well, I should leave this out. So I looked through my collection, and of course I have lots of flowers, but I thought I would try to find one that I liked using the paper pumpkin. So this is my favorite thing about paper pumpkin, is you get exclusive stamps that you can use over and over for years to come. And I found this Meaningful Flowers from August of 2023. I tried to find the most recent one that I thought would work well in the little pot, and this one works well. Now I really wish our stamps this month weren't solid, so I'm not a fan of doing, I tried to color it and it looks brown, so I'm not going to use this, but I'm not a fan of using all one color flowers. Now you can stamp the little flowers and cover them up. That's not a flower. Here's one, it's not stamped, and cover them up. But I would much rather use one of these and color it in. So if you're listening, paper pumpkin, Stampin' Up! People, give us outline stamps so we then can color the leaves and the flowers separate colors. Okay, there's my little rant on that. So now I'm going to go ahead and stamp the flowers. Now I go in with my, see, I can switch these out. So that's why I like that. I can have different things versus putting it on here because I don't have near as many deluxe mats as I have plates. Okay, so I made myself, now this is an old kit. Where is my cuts of it? Here's one. Now I go in, well, we don't have to stamp it. I've already stamped it. I go in with this, it's kind of an X-Acto knife, but it swivels. So I'm going to try not to cut myself. See how it turns? And it makes it real easy if you want to go in and cut out the inside of your stamps. Let me, I had an avalanche there, pulling this out. So see how I went in and cut the insides of that flower? Is it focusing? I like to do that, just especially when I'm going to put them on a scene like this, because I can see through them. And so I already have that one stamped, so we can go ahead and use that one. Now I'm going to do some coloring only because this is a very simple kit. And I just got in with that order, the cloud cover Stampin' Blends. Now, these are part of the in color sale going on right now. So any products that have the 2025, 2027 in colors in them are 15% off right now. So it's a great time to get refills, get your cardstock, even some DSP. I usually go in and color with this one. Where is, you know what, I'm going to use, I have this laminated grid sheet back from when our thing was, and I'm just going to use it so that I can, if I go off, which hopefully I don't, then it won't get on my grid paper. Okay, so now I'm going to get the big end. I've kind of done some, and I am not an artist, so I know some people are great colors. I am not. I just kind of do my own thing, and after these dry, especially, they do blend a lot better. So let's blend that into the darker area. Bring this around. And be gentle with these full-size tips. They don't tend to last very long. And this is cloud cover. I don't think I mentioned that. Okay, I'm going to do a cloud. Now, in my other example, I did a pecan pie color, but I thought I would see what this one looked like. And if not, I already have a pecan pie one colored. And then with my, let's see, I need to leave that out. My flowers, I'm going to use Calypso Coral and just kind of show you what I do with those. So this is the dark, and I just go along the inside of the flower up to where the artwork has like a line, and do it on the inside, something like that. And my light is getting dry, but hopefully it's still going to work. And then I kind of just blend out into the lighter color, going over the darker area. So let's do that for each flower. I'm going to go ahead and just do the coloring of each color. They may not blend as well because it's going to dry, but if I work quickly, hopefully we can still get some great blending. And then this little sucker right there. Okay. I usually take a little more time, but since this is a pretty simple alternative, I thought I would just do the coloring here with you. I sometimes pre-color these things if I have several alternatives, so I don't take up much of your time. Okay, there's the flowers, and then real simple with the leaves, I'm just going to go in with the dark Old Old Navy, that's a clothes store. Old Olive, and color in these stems and not worry about the shading. Kind of didn't get in the lines there, but that's okay. So hopefully, if you've been a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, hopefully you keep your stamps, because I like to bring them in and use them with other ones. And they don't take up too much space, especially if you store them like I do in the little Avery L envelopes. Okay, almost done. Now I just need to put a dark center in the flowers. Get the little bullet tip and just dot and dot. So there's my flowers, okay, that we're going to try to decorate this scene with a little bit more. So let's see how the cloud, oh, I like that. The cloud cover goes well. Now in my one that's already done, you'll see the pecan pie one. But like I said, I just literally got those. I was about to start this video and my doorbell went off, and it was the nice little brown truck bringing me my delivery. All right, so let's put those on there like that. I see I missed just the tip of the leaf, and that's okay. And some white space is okay. It's almost like a little reflection of light or something when you're coloring. And so let's put that right there. And so I did that in Calypso Coral to kind of match these flowers. And the Cherry Cobbler kind of brings out these flowers. I'm going to get my fine tip glue bottle for this one. Now, if you like double stacking dimensionals, you could put this on with dimensionals. But since I have the scene on dimensionals, I'm going to glue this down flat and hopefully get it where the pot's kind of straight. Okay, and that's why I like to cut out around the center, because you can see that. And now we just need a sentiment. Now, if you're new to my channel, I do have an Etsy shop where I create cut files using the sentiments. And I have those here. So let's switch this around. Bring back in my negatives for my cuts. And I want to find a skinny one, and I think this thank you somewhere right here would be good. So let me find that cut. I have them all stored in these little 5x7 envelopes. And so, like I said, I just create a whole sheet, and then I have them here to go. Now my sentiments come in 2 sizes. So I have an example here. I've got something on my finger, probably the brown marker. So this is one size, and then I make another one with more white space. So both of them are in my cut file. I prefer these, although these are fine too. And then you can make as many of those as you need with either Cricut or Silhouette. Uses the SVG file, and the FCN file is for the scan and cut. So let's do this thank you. And the hardest thing to remember is to make sure that's in the corner, and it should be all lined up. So at the end of my video of how to use those, I go through kind of the process of what I do to stamp, if you're looking for that. And that actually goes very well there. And then we can put this up here. I think right there along the windowsill looks fine. Of course, you know, oftentimes in scenes like this, I don't do a sentiment and just write what I want to or stamp what I want to on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and put a sentiment on the outside. Right there. And then of course you can go in and add some bling or not. I haven't added bling yet. Sometimes I wait and decide what I like to do. So this is my alternative for you. And here's one I did already with the pecan pie pot. So which one of those do you like? I love to get your opinions and I love to read comments from you guys. Now, like I said, this was very simple, but don't forget we have these stamps to work with, and I just want to share a card because it uses some beautiful designer series paper. So I went in and found, it's kind of one of my favorites. Let me grab it for you here. This is the Floral Charm DSP. And I just think it's all beautiful. I love the flowers in it. And I thought they were, excuse me, pretty similar to these flowers. And here's a tip when you cut your DSP. So rather than, let me get it going the right direction. I don't know which side. There you go. So I cut a 4 by 5 1/4. So rather than cut 4 and then 5 1/4, I like to cut 5 1/4 first. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, so what that leaves you, if you do 2 of those, let's see, that's 10 1/2. So you have another 1.5 inch strip here that then you can cut from there, whether you want to use it. Now this one is directional, so obviously you'd want to use it this way, but at least it gives you a little more. So cutting 4 would work there, but in some patterns like that aren't symmetrical, say you wanted to use this green piece and you wanted it 5 1/4. That way you have 5 1/4 versus little 4-inch strips all the way. So I hope that helps maybe get you a little more better use of your designer series paper. But I love this. And so I showed the arches already. So I used Blackberry Bliss as my backing, which is at 5 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I did my designer series paper at 4 by 5 1/4. And that way at 4 inches you can get 3 because this paper is 12 inches long. So you can get 3 of those done. And then I brought in my everyday arches, which I had those, here they are. I hadn't used these a lot. I did just get the dies of these. I didn't get the stamp set. And by the way, I think the stamp set is on the last chance, but not the dies. The dies are 164629 is the item number. And so let's see, I chose, not that one, the next one. I love how these nest inside each other. So that is the 1, 2, 3, the 5th largest for the white, and then the 4th largest in Blackberry Bliss. Now if you want to save cardstock, you can cut that arch out of the center of your Blackberry Bliss layer that goes here. No one's going to know you didn't use the whole sheet. So, and then I did a little blending of Blackberry Bliss on there. Did the same coloring-ish. I did use Timid Tiger here because this was Timid Tiger. And then I had a little boo-boo of Timid Tiger here because it was on my finger. So I said, you know what? I will cover that up with a flower and make it look like a flower fell off and sitting there. Now I probably need to go in and do a little wash to give it a grounding. Let me see if I can do that. I often like to do that. Let me see. Oh good, the flower came off, and there you can see my Timid Tiger boo-boo. So I'm going to do this with my watercolor pencils, and hopefully I don't make a mess of it. Just to give it a little grounding, I'm going to find my early espresso and just very lightly give it a grounding of like a table or something. And I'm going to put my flower back on over my boo-boo. I may need to add a little more adhesive since I ripped that off. And so I just fussy cut one of those flowers off to put there on my table. So I think that grounds the pot a little more than just floating in the air. And then I used one of my cut file sentiments from the kit So just showing you how you can use your kits over and over. Grab a little designer series paper, let that do most of the work, and then put your paper pumpkin stamps to use. Now, one last thing, if you watched my first alternative, I just wanted to show you that I did go in and add a couple more leaves and spread those out to make it look a little more full. And of course I used some embellishments, and I fussy cut some of these little flowers to be on the table there. So I just like to show changes that I make kind of afterwards. When I look at a card, it's like, is that what I like the best or not? Okay, so let me switch to myself again. I often forget that. All right, everyone. So thanks for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can share it with your other paper crafting friends. And as always, I love to read your comments. You guys are the best. You guys encourage me with your kind words. So thank you for doing that. So until my next video, I hope you have a great day, everyone. So I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.